What's up, guys? I'm gonna be going over the trade recap on Friday. I took two trades. I'm filming this on Monday. Um, it's right now 12 o'clock, so I did not trade today, so I'm not gonna do a trade recap for today on Monday. I'm doing a trade recap for Friday, which I still needed to film. I'll try and make this as good as I can. I haven't looked at like the price action in a little bit. I got a little behind. But right now you're looking at the market open, right? Uh, and I marked out the Asian in session, London highs, all that good stuff. So looking at this, we'll go on the 15-minute. We established London session high and Asian session high. This is NASDAQ. Going on to ES, we have the same highs. We took out Asian session low, this other hourly low, and reestablished London low down here at 445 on ES, and also at 445 on NASDAQ. Asian session low taken out, that hourly low taken out. We also look at this SMT with the London low and the 9 o'clock low. So ES created a bullish SMT. ES is the lagging index on the trend. We have 15-minute break of structure right there, right? The bullish SMT, the low resistance liquidity draws, looks pretty bullish. I did look at this hourly low and also this hourly low and also this hourly low as potential take profits on the sell side. Um, I had to take into account this low because we are fairly close to it. Only like 34 points away, and we missed it, and that's a really good draw on liquidity. And we're a little bit closer on the lagging index of the bull one, right? The lagging index being ES, right? We're only 17 points away from that. So I did look at that and be like, we could go on the sell side, right? And if you look at the higher time frame, we're bearish on the 1 hour on ES and also on NASDAQ. On the 4 hour, we were also bearish on NASDAQ and bearish on ES. I don't let that get too much into my decision making. And this is like at 9:30, right? So, if you want to have a better idea of where market wants to go, I wait 10 minutes before I ever place a trade. So the earliest I'll place a trade is 9:40. So now that we've looked at the sell side options on the day, we can look at the buy side options, right? So we got London session and Asian session high, and then this daily high up here from the prior session, and past that is nothing I would hold on to and try and get to, because these take profits would be way too high, too far away. Also too high, but yeah. And it's the same thing on NASDAQ. NASDAQ looks pretty solid. This is the leading index for the long because of this SMT, right? And to complete this SMT, we would have to take out Asian session high. So we'd take that out. We would likely take out that high. Same thing on ES, right? So that was the decisioning, like the process I went at developing a buy. So I was willing to go on either side, but I was favoring the buy side because of this SMT and the draws on liquidity to the sell side, right? We don't have any draws on liquidity on the buy side, right? So we don't have this high taken out. We don't have Asian session, London high session taken out. We don't have this high taken out. So that's another reason why I was looking bullish. But we also did have this, hourly gap, which we did fill. We filled in that hourly gap, so we could go and continue the downtrend, right? So, it could go either way. Typically, when I'm looking at the pre-market, I'm kind of like 50-50. But when I wait, like 10 minutes, I can get more of an idea. Sometimes not. On the 5-minute, right? This is 10 minutes into market open. And not much. We're bullish on the 5 minutes still. We did not break structure on this. I I don't think we have 79% extension. If we do, because I did take a short, right? I took 2 trades on this day. I took a short on ES at 10 o'clock, right? We actually do have 79% extension on NASDAQ, okay? So, looking at that, you could look for a retracement. Another 5-minute candle, it's 9:44. We make a retracement, right? So NASDAQ, you have this retracement. So you could take a short once you get a 1-minute confirmation, right? You don't have 79% extension on here, so you wouldn't be looking for a short. Also, this is the lagging index, right? So you had, actually the leading index, but you had other draws and liquidities, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so going on another 5 minutes, looking at NASDAQ, you get this awesome break of structure to the sell side, but you get this inverse of this fair value gap, which is really awesome, right? You know what? We actually, I think we did get 79% extension. Pretty much we did get 79% extension, and because this is the leading index on the sell side, I actually did place a short at 950 on ES, and I can show you what that looked like. It was pretty much this exact trade I placed, and then you'll see immediately get stopped down. So I was like, crap. So that really sucked, right? Not super great, not an awesome trade, but because we filled in that 1 hour gap that I pointed out earlier, and we were bearish on all the high time frames, I was like, we could come down, and even though we had this bullish SMT, all we needed to do to complete it was go down a little bit more, which is like super close. So to complete this SMT, we could go down a little bit more or go up and have a massive breakout to the upside, which is like, what do you think is going to happen, right? But no, we got stopped out of that trade instantly. So that wasn't great. It was a pretty solid setup, minus this SMT that we had. I really liked the setup. I thought we looked pretty good. And we also had this, right, I forgot to point this out, we also had this SMT, this 5-minute SMT at 750 to the high at market open, right, which is right there at 935, right, and you'll see we created a bearish SMT, and we placed my trade at 950 at ES, right? We needed to complete this bearish SMT by taking out this low. So I'm like, awesome. We're likely going to take out this low and then this. And we're right there. That's only like a couple points away. So I'm like, awesome. We could easily go down and hit this, take that out. But we didn't, and we ended up actually going up and hitting my stop loss, which kind of sucked. But I was able to win back my losses, and I'll show you how I did that. Looking at the 5-minute, it kept bull running and bull running and bull running, right? So I'm like, crap. We're still maintaining this bullish SMT down here. That bearish SMT from this high to that high, right? That was completed, right? This SMT, we completed that. We're still maintaining this bullish SMT, so I'm like, what are we going to do? We have that 5-minute confirmation because we have the 5-minute break of structure to the upside on both indexes. And I'm like, okay, we made a pretty good retrace. We're filling in this 5-minute gap. And I'm like, you know what? I kind of don't want to, but I'm like, I could take a long off of this retracement, which is a pretty solid retracement. I saw good price action. It wasn't choppy. It wasn't bad. And NASDAQ made a retracement also, but it wasn't as good as on ES. And number two, on NASDAQ, we're much closer to these highs than on ES. And you might be thinking that's a good thing, right? Because if you're closer to those highs, you're more likely to take them out. But you also have to think of a risk-reward ratio. I only take 1 to 2 risk-reward ratios at the very least. Like, I would not take a 1.83. It's always, like, at a bare minimum, a 1 to 2 that I take just to maintain profitability, you know? That's just, like, what I do. So there really wasn't an entry on this, and also we filled in this gap, and it's not like we filled in this gap. The retracement wasn't as good. There wouldn't be a good enough entry, right? But the reason why I say I was hesitant on taking this long on ES is even though we came into this gap, and you'll see that we come out of it, I was pretty cautious of taking this because, as you can see, NASDAQ is much closer to these highs than ES is. So if I'm going to take a long on ES, I'm assuming we're going to come up here. And if we're going to come all the way up here, by the time we hit Asian session high, NASDAQ is going to have Asian session high and this hourly high and be all the way up here. And that's going to have a really high time frame bearish SMT. So if I took a long on ES, I'd be trading on the lagging index, and I put myself at a higher risk of not being able to take a profit at this high. Because remember, I said in the beginning, looking at my developing my bias, is that if I took a long, it would be up to this high, right? And because there was nothing else I liked after that high. That was the most common sense tangible high. And we did have this high on NASDAQ, right? These two highs. But I'm like, that's going to be way too far away. I think it's really unlikely for us to get that, high. And I didn't like the price action in the morning too much because we missed out on this really good liquidity that we didn't take out. But we still had a draw on liquidity, which is very important. And it's not too bad of a draw on liquidity. We took out this London session low, which I like. Because if I'm going to take a breakout to the buy side, like a big breakout, I want to have a decent draw on liquidity. That's one reason why today, on Monday the 26th, I didn't take a trade, because I didn't see a good liquidity sweep, right? So I wasn't going to take a long, even though I could have, and actually would have made money. I can show you. Like, yeah, I could have. I didn't take this, but I did look at like a setup, like an entry that I could have took, but I didn't. This is Monday, which is today, the 26th. Like today, I didn't take this trade. I could have if I wanted to, but I'd be kind of stupid because we didn't have a liquidity sweep. Like the last liquidity sweep we had on this massive breakout was all the way at 450, right? And price opened right here at 930, right? And then by the time I saw my entry, it's 1010, and we don't have any retracements. We just kept making higher lows without hitting liquidity. So, and we're already so extended on this. But that's like a trade recap for today on a trade that I did not take. I didn't take that trade, but I could have, and I would have made money. I wanted to see, just for the heck of it, like if I did take a trade, but I didn't. But going back on this, we did have a decent draw on liquidity. So I'm like, you know what? I see this setup. We hit this gap. And then we had the 1 minute confirmation out of it, which was super clean. We get this 1 minute break of structure, right? So I'm like, you know what? Let's take a long. And yeah, I was able to get this awesome like 1.91, right? I believe this is, yeah. I think my entry was a little different. Hold on. I think maybe my entry, like my fill, wasn't right. Unless I had my stop loss different. So sometimes the sticks on FX replay is not 100% accurate as it is on like Trade Locker, which is the demo live version I do for trading. But yeah, I don't know. But that's where I would have gotten in. I have it. Let's just go for the heck of it. Make sure I'm being honest. Right, let's go back on ES, because this is what I took it on. Go on the 1 minute. go back to Friday. Okay, so yeah, this was my fill, which was right there. Yeah, and I got a 1.92. What the heck? Are you guys seeing this? We have this low at 1020 on FX replay, and right here, that low, the low on this is, you see, it's 1017, but on FX replay, that's messed up. I don't know what's going on. That's not right. I can't. I I didn't realize the price action was not the same on FX replay as it was on the live action. That's kind of like, that kind of pisses me off, kind of, because I did so much back testing on this. I mean, like, those small differences can make a big impact on your trading. You see, this got stopped down. I had a 2.31, and on here, and it's, I don't know what's going on, but for live trading, right? This is what I saw, right? It's pretty much the same thing. We still had that break of structure at 1021. My fill was right there. I got in the trade right when the 1021 candle closed, right? So it was technically at 1022 by like 1 second into this candle. I always wait for the candle closure for the confirmation. I don't want to like be, yeah, I'm kind of getting sidetracked, but getting back to this, we hit this trade, and this is important. This is what I want to show you. So my original take profit was this high. It was this high. This high was that hourly high, right? This high. But why did I not close right there? Why didn't I? Well, I'll show you. We wait, we see price action doing its thing. It's 11 o'clock right now, okay? Look at NASDAQ. Look how high and extended NASDAQ is. No retracements. You look at the 5-minute, there's not a single retracement, right? And we've established an SMT with that hourly high on NASDAQ and the high on ES. We have this SMT. We're super extended on NASDAQ. We could retrace any moment. We're over like a whole percent. We could like easily retrace and not hit this hourly high at all. So I'm like, I have to make a tough decision. What do I do? So I'm like, you know what? I don't want to just exit out just randomly. I was like, you know what? Let me lower this to Asian session high, right? And then move my stop to break even. So I do that, get out at Asian session high. Could I have hit this? No, I couldn't have, because we ended up not hitting it at all, and we ended up like going and tanking. So that's why I got out at Asian session high, because NASDAQ created an SMT. We were super extended on NASDAQ. So I'm like, I'm trading on the lagging index. I don't want to be caught. I don't want to be caught in a a reversal happening. So I'm like, let me get out early. So I got out of my trade. This is not accurate. The candle patterns is not 100% right as it is on Trade Locker, but I got out at right there at Asian session high, which was 1.94. So almost my 1 to 2 risk reward ratio, but I didn't really care too much about what the risk reward ratio was, because at that point, looking at the price action, I knew I had to exit out of the trade. Whether it's the money I wanted or not, I had to get out if I wanted to make anything, right? So that's what I did. So with a theoretical $500 uh, position size on both trades, lost 500 and I made 960. You do the math, that's $460 on the day. So a pretty good day. I mean, I challenged myself. I took this trade, which I really didn't want to, but I'm like, this is an entry. While maintaining this SMT, because I had to ask myself, would I, if I didn't have that loss in the morning, would I have taken that second trade? You know, like, if let's say we see this trade, we see this long, I would probably be more open at taking that if I didn't already lose money. The only reason why I was hesitant on taking this trade is because I didn't want to lose more money. But the thing is, you have to kind of push yourself out of that comfortability to stay profitable, you know? Because if you see setups that you want to take, but you don't take them because you're too scared of losing money, you're not going to make money that way, you know? Because even really good setups can lose, you know? So when you see your strategy playing out, you have to take it. Because if you're too afraid, you're gonna lose. Like, being afraid is not an emotion you should lean into. You should lean out of being afraid. You need to be like convicted and know what you want to do, you know? And I told myself, even if this trade did hit break even, at least I stay disciplined and I followed my strategy, right? That 5 minute confirmation, the retracement, and the 1 minute confirmation. Well, we paid attention to this bullish SMT down there, right? So it's like, why wouldn't I take it, right? So it was a good day. Today I didn't take a trade because I didn't see that retracement that I wanted to. We were really extended, but you could have took a long today and made money, right? Um, I'm not upset with today, with how today went. So it's fine. But yeah. So I'll let you guys. I'll keep you guys updated on when I take another trade. It could be tomorrow. It could be Wednesday. I don't know. It always just kind of depends what the market gives me. But I'll keep you guys updated. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.